Hello people of the internet and welcome back to the Cars Ireland YouTube channel. Now I must admit I have been very excited about this review for months now. I couldn't wait to get my hands on this little machine. I'm a huge fan of small, fast little cars. There's something about them that just excites the soul in a way that other cars just don't. And the Fiesta ST is certainly one of them. Oh, yes! Now today's car is Ford's third attempt at a sporty Fiesta ST. Now the first generation was introduced in 2004 and didn't cause much of a stir, to be fair. Then in 2013 Ford introduced the second Fiesta ST. That second generation car basically had no pressure whatsoever. We all based our opinions on that previous model and we weren't going to expect a huge amount. It is basically one of the best hot hatches of the past decade. It's always in the top 5, top 3 of those big lists you see on Top Gear and the like. It'll probably go down in history as one of the best hot hatches ever. So in summary, underwhelming first attempt, much loved second attempt, and today we have the third attempt. No pressure. Obviously with that previous generation, Ford could have played it simple and basically rehashed that model and gone again, and most people probably would have been happy. But no, Ford have a tendency of changing things up, especially on their performance models. They could have just simply rolled out that 1.6 four-cylinder turbo, sent it on its way, put the new shell on it, and off you go, and you probably are going to get a successful little car again. But no, they've obviously changed it up, and this time we have a 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's a 1.5 with basically 200 brake horsepower. They've thrown a bit more modern technology at this as well, so it actually has cylinder deactivation. Basically, when you don't need it, they will shut off one cylinder and you are driving around in a 1-litre turbocharged engine at that stage in your performance hot hatch, which just sounds like such a contradiction. But there you go, technology can make life better, because obviously that's going to lead to better fuel economy, and it does make sense. If you have it there, you may as well use it. Regardless of all of that new technology and great fuel saving and whatever, it's a brilliant engine in and of itself. It is so happy to rev out, you really wouldn't think it's a turbo. Just drop it down a bit and it will rev out to 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, look, rev goes. Yeah, it just spools up so quick, is so happy to rev out, and you really wouldn't feel the lag of the turbo. And it doesn't even die that much towards the top end, just keeps kicking you on and goading you to push it more. It's so impressive. If you want some more hard figures, it's 290 Newton meters of torque, and 0 to 100 kilometers is dealt with in about 6.5 seconds. Just pop around this corner, drop the gears, and pull away. Yeah. Oh, yes. What a good engine. What a great engine. The choice of gearbox is good and simple and old school and correct. It is a 6-speed manual and it works very well. Changes are nice and slick and quick, and it's a short shift. The only thing is, it just feels like there's a hint of slack in it maybe that I would like out. Short shift, go. Short shift, go. Yeah, it's fine. Just a slight hint of slack in it that I would like knocked out. Perfect otherwise. Now I want to have a quick chat about something that our Irish viewers will probably know, but maybe not everyone else will, and that is called paddy spec cars. And that was basically the phenomenon that Irish people got lumped with the most basic, down-to-earth, straightforward car specs that you could ever think of. And it was basically to avoid the annoying tax system we have here. I won't get into it, but anyway, Ford have taken a very different approach with the Fiesta ST, and after a quick perusal of their website, I've noticed that basically we can only get the top spec one as far as I can tell, and that's the one I'm in today. So we have the ST3 top of the line with the performance pack, and that all comes in at around 32 grand, 33, somewhere in that kind of region. That performance pack includes 3 things, and that is launch control, a limited slip differential, and the little light indicator telling you when to shift up for best performance. The ST also comes with driving modes, naturally enough, and they are normal, sport and track. And each mode has different engine mapping, different throttle response, different brake pedal feel, which I was surprised by, and different steering feel too. I did find myself just staying in normal mode most of the time. Didn't necessarily feel the need to go into sport. It does lively things up a bit, but yeah, I didn't really find myself needing it that much. Normal was perfectly acceptable. At this point you may be wondering, well, how does it handle? And I'll be honest with you, it's an absolute masterclass in how to do a chassis right. This thing is brilliant. The grip is bonkers. The amount of grip you have in a corner is mental. It just boggles the mind sometimes. You can come into a corner whatever speed you want basically, and it'll just hang on. It's absolutely nuts. You can be midway through a corner, get on the power early, and it just pulls you around like that. You find yourself getting braver and braver with it, and you're still not pushing it to its limits, and you're having so much fun, and everyone's safe and everyone's happy, and it's just a great little handling machine. Now, I've not driven one without the diff, but from my research and from what I understand, you do need it, and the models without it have a tendency to wash wide in the corners, whereas this thing just pulls you around, and it's so much fun. The steering is also very sharp. Just the slightest input here translates to quite a lot of movement at the tires, so it is very sharp and very quick to respond, and you sort of dart in and out with the slightest little movement. Lock to lock is only like 1.5 turns, so yeah, very sharp steering. There is actually quite a nice weight to it too that just seems to suit the overall feel of the car. It's not too heavy, but definitely not light. It just sort of hits that balance nicely. I do like it. Now, despite all that grip, there is actually a bit of a playful nature to the car too. It kind of dances around when you want it to, and you just feel a little shimmy from the back end. If you lift off through the corner just for a bit of lift off oversteer, you can just come through a corner, lift off, and you just get a little dance at the back end that just puts a smile on your face. I think everything I keep saying is it puts a smile on your face, but that's what this car does do. It just keeps you happy. It's such a unique thing nowadays. There's so many cars I get into that, oh yeah, this is nice and comfortable and it does what it does, but it never really puts a smile on your face. This is unique in that way that it does put a smile on your face every single time, and it'll make you want to go out and drive just for no reason at all. I really love it. I so want one. I so want one. Inside is very pleasant too. I do like it up here quite a lot. It is a bit dark and it might need a flash of colour just to make you aware that you're in the ST, but other than that, it's very nice. These seats are excellent. They're bolstered Recaros and they really hug you in tightly around your legs and around your side as well. It's just a nice tight fit. In saying that, if you are a bit larger, just bigger in general, it might be tight. On me, you know, I am well held in, but if I was any bigger, you'd know about it, and it might be a bit too tight for you and maybe a bit uncomfortable, but I think most people will be perfectly fine in these seats, and they're very nice and grippy, and the material is nice, and they're half leather, and they're Recaro, so you can't go wrong. And just to remind you that you're in the ST, you have a badge on the steering wheel, which is also flat bottom because sporty. It is quite thick. I would like maybe it to be a bit thinner, but that's being very picky. It's nicely padded in perforated leather, and it looks well too. There's an ST badge on the steering wheel, there's an ST badge on the seats, but it's not actually covered in them too much. That's it, those two little reminders. You have your infotainment screen up here, and I've said this in other Ford videos, that it's not quite up to the standards of some of the other stuff, but it's fine and it works well and it does its job. I would like it pointed towards me a bit more. There is a sense that it's kind of pointing at the back and a bit too flush here. I would like it just anchored towards me a bit more. As we are in the top spec ST3, you get some other flourishes too. We have things like heated steering wheel, heated seats, there's sat nav, there's automatic wipers, there's red calipers on the outside, there are 18-inch alloys rather than the standard 17. There is space in the back. It's not great for larger adults, and if I was sitting behind myself, I am very crammed in there, but you know what, it's functional and it would work for quite a lot of people. The boot is small, but it does its job and it's fine. I do quite like this colour. It's sort of a matte silvery grey, but it looks really well. But a lot of people will probably just see this as a Fiesta with some nice little bits of body kit on it. It's very subtle. Someone in a 2-litre diesel Audi will think, ah, sure, I'll take him, no bother to me. And they will be surprised by this little beast of a Fiesta. It won't come as a massive surprise that it is quite stiffly sprung, and that is thanks to some force vectoring springs and frequency dependent dampers. So the dampers just adjust based on the frequency going on. You can't actually adjust them in your driving modes. It does have a tendency to kind of jiggle about if you hit maybe a run of little ruts and bumps, and you just jump around a bit. You probably are seeing it on the camera anyway, but other than that, it is pretty comfortable. And actually, when you're on smoother surfaces and even on the motorway, I had no complaints at all. It was really comfortable on the motorway. Plus you can get it in 3 or 5 door, which you couldn't in the previous generation, so that does open it up to other people, I think. It actually sounds pretty good too. That little 3-cylinder gives a nice little shout off it when you get up high. I think some of it is augmented, but it's a good little noise too for what it is. When you're in sport and track mode, it gets a bit more raughty. Obviously around town it's going to be really easy too. It's basically just a Fiesta, so small dimensions, easy to maneuver in and out around town. I'll be honest with you, I was a bit fearful when I knew I was taking this car, and the only reason is because I had built it up so much in my head based on all the stuff I watched, based on all the reviews I read. I had built this car up so much in my head and I was so excited to try it, and well, all my fears are gone. I really love this thing. I fear I might be turning into a Ford fanboy without really knowing it. At this moment in time, if I had to pick a 2-car garage, I think it might be a Fiesta ST and a Ranger Raptor, and I'd be happy. I'd be so happy. If you would like to search for a car on Cars Ireland, please do click on the link above. I know what I'll be searching tonight, Fiesta STs, because I really want one now. You, my dear, are a marvel. This is so good. And lift off. It's just going to be me smiling the whole review. Ah, shit. Well done, Anthony. Well done.